Hello. So I've been facilitating Safe Course 3, which is about bodhicitta. And a topic that comes up that's related to bodhicitta is renunciation, or the determination to be free. So with the word renunciation, we often think about, like it implies rejecting something that is especially like the pursuit of material wealth, reputation and fame, and comfort, sensual pleasure. And the phrase determination for liberation, or the determination to be free, implies wanting to be free from something that is negative, like harmful or hindering. Where with renunciation, I think a lot of times we think, oh, you have to let go of all these good things. Well, I think it's about recognizing the suffering of what we're letting go of. So to generate this mind, we have to really get an understanding of the first noble truth, the truth of dukkha, or the truth of suffering, and recognize samsara as something that we sincerely want to let go of and be free of. And this is a release, not so much in the way of being released from samsara as releasing our grasp on samsara, our clinging and grasping to and craving for the causes of our suffering. And it's recognizing suffering and letting go of it. And Venerable Chodron has told us a story a few times about when her brother was a child and he rode his tricycle off the deep end into the pool and hung onto the bike as it went down. And he must have had some feeling that hanging onto that bike was the safest option. But no, he took him to the bottom of the pool, and luckily the guy that cleans the pool was there and dove in and got him out. But that's how we are, clinging to our suffering and its causes as if it was the way to happiness. And we cling to our afflictions. And anger, I think, is a good example, because we often could see anger as a negative state of mind and things that it brings up. But we justify our anger. I have the right to be angry. Anyone would be angry after what they did, But if we recognize our anger as a cause of our suffering and a suffering state of mind in itself, and we might be able to simply to see that we're justifying our own suffering, justifying our right to be suffering, as if it were a way to get happiness. In September, when Geshe Dado was here, in his teachings, he talked about the need for caution regarding the afflictions. And this is very important in our practice. If our practice is not addressing and countering the afflictions, then we really have to question whether it's really a Dharma practice at all. Geshe said that eventually one will develop to the point when the afflictions arise, one immediately thinks or knows, this is not something to be listened to. This is not something to be followed out. And this development develops from dwelling on and contemplating the drawbacks of the afflictions, seeing that they are suffering, and growing caution towards them inside oneself, internalizing a sense of caution towards the mental afflictions and understanding that they are a source of suffering. And anyone who has applied themselves to recognizing the afflicted states of mind when they arise, and applying antidotes, can over a time see development taking place. We can see that we start to recognize these things more readily, and it becomes our habit to bring up the antidotes rather than having to look back afterwards and say, oh, I should have done something different. So until we realize the ultimate nature of reality, until we realize emptiness, afflictions are going to arise. And as practitioners, hopefully we can make them arise less often, but this reaction of no, this is not to be listened to, not to be followed, this is our defense. And it takes an understanding of what brings harm and what brings lasting benefit to ourselves and others. One person I was talking with said he thinks of the afflictions as like a row of taxi cabs, and he resists getting into it. He says, if I get in that, I don't know where it's going to take me and what kind of trouble it's going to get me into. So I kind of like that. And renunciation is very important for developing bodhicitta. Because renunciation is the compassion for ourselves, recognizing our suffering and wanting to be free of it. And wanting ourselves to be free of the sufferings of cyclic existence. This is the highest compassion we can have for ourselves. And then great compassion is an expansion of that to include all sentient beings, wanting them all, every one of them, every one of us sentient beings, to be free from the sufferings of cyclic existence. So in this sense, the level of our compassion will reflect the level of our renunciation and determination to be free. One of the safe participants was talking about their how they really are interested in bodhicitta and emptiness, but they don't feel like they really have it together about renunciation. And so that's really what brought this topic up for me. It's like renunciation is what you have to have in order to develop bodhicitta. You have to have that to start with. And so from great compassion we go beyond just wanting sentient beings to be free from suffering and develop the great resolve to remove their suffering. And from that, the aspiration, the commitment really to become fully awakened in order to have the best ability to help others become free. So our determination for liberation is indispensable to the process of generating bodhicitta. And one's inner development is of the utmost importance in benefiting others. This is our focus here, putting the teachings into practice to facilitate our own inner development, to transform our minds, to manifest the virtuous qualities that are beneficial to ourselves and others. And so reflecting on this, I think, can be encouraging for our practice. Our Dharma practice is not just retreating from the world, but it's the best thing that we can be doing to benefit all sentient beings. Working with our minds, practicing and manifesting the Dharma.